Sajid Karim, Conservative MEP for the North West. What's your reaction to this judgment in the European Court of Human Rights?
Well, I completely understand the anxiety that the victims' families must be feeling at this time, but let's be absolutely clear about one thing. There is no imminent release of these convicted prisoners at all. The court has not said that. What the court has said is that anybody who gets a life term ought to have the possibility of a review available to them, which is quite a different thing. Of course, our Prime Minister has said that the people of the United Kingdom will find it very difficult to understand on a political basis the technicalities behind this. That's quite right, but what I want to be absolutely clear about is that the Strasbourg court has not said that there is an imminent release of any of these prisoners serving a life sentence, and nor has it said that life tariffs cannot be given in the future. This is something we can work with at a UK level, and I'm sure that our government will come forward with a programme that allows us to retain our national stamp on a life sentence.
I mean, from what you're saying, it sounds like you're quite content with the court's judgment, that it's a fair and sound judgment. Is that a fair summary of your personal view?
The judgment doesn't in any way take away from the United Kingdom being able to still give life sentences. It doesn't take away from the fact that having given life sentences in these particular cases, that has been undone in any way. It has not. What this judgment says is that anybody who is given a life sentence ought to have the possibility of a review offered to them on a maximum basis of 25 years. But it does not in any way take away from the fact that life can still mean life.
So that's fine in your eyes. The judgment is fine. You don't have a problem with the judgment, in other words.
The judgment actually is quite clear in what it is saying, and it allows us as a country to retain our national stamp on this sort of crime, and that is that where we want life to mean life, it can mean life.
There is a public perception argument, there always has been, about life meaning life. Is there a problem in this judgment that political spins and so forth are going to give the appearance that the European Court is challenging the UK's right to give out lifelong sentencing?
Well, it certainly won't be the first time that spin has been put forward saying that the European courts are in some way trying to undermine a UK sovereign position. That simply isn't the case here. It has been in other cases, but here I don't see that at all.
So what do you think will be the implication now within the UK as a result of this judgment in the European Court?
Well, if it is to be applied, then of course our British Parliament needs to have a look again at how things stand at this stage and see how we're going to incorporate it into our systems. And equally then, the judges will have to start applying it as and when they are giving life tariffs to people to make sure that there is a review process in place at some stage. But I can only repeat again, this does not take away from our national right to give life sentences to mean life sentences.
Some people are saying today that this puts the European Court in disrepute. What would you respond to that?
Well, I don't see that side of it at all. If it was the case that the European Court had actually said that you cannot any longer impose life sentences, then of course that would be quite a different situation. What it is important is, particularly for the families of the victims, that we stick to the actual facts of this case and see what the court has said rather than what other people may be perceiving it to have said. So for the sake of the victims, let's be absolutely clear, there is no imminent release in place, and life can mean life in the future if we want to retain our national sovereign position to say that that is the sort of sentence we are going to pass.